Alright, so I'm gonna start out with walking through the basics, like the very, very basics. And this is basically just so we have something to adjust later on. So if we don't have nothing to, you know, work from, it's very hard to adjust. So just the basics now. If you're looking to learn how to squat, this is the first time. This is like how to do the basic things. And then later on, I'm gonna show you how to do a couple of adjustments based on if you want to get stronger or if you want to build your legs more so, and also based on your genetic structure, because we all have different bone structures, and that is going to determine how our squat looks. And if you have a more specific squat, let's say that you have a very tilted squat where you fall forward very much and you want to build your legs, there are actually a couple of things we can do to adjust that to make it a lot easier. And the other way around, if you have a very, very upright squat and you want to get stronger, putting some more load on the posterior chain will actually benefit you, and we can adjust for that too. So let's just start out. I'm going to have a shoulder width grip, like slightly wider. This doesn't really matter that much, but typically you want to have a comfortable position. If you put the bar up here, this is called a high bar. And if you put it down there, this is called a low bar. If you have a high bar squat, let's assume it's a high bar just for now. We stand with shoulder width stance, toes pointing slightly out, and from here we're just gonna bend our knees and put our ass back. Just a little bit like this, and just fall down and see how far we can fall down. I can fall down this far. Hopefully this is all in the camera. And then up again. Now our toes is gonna have like be slightly pointed outwards like this. We want our knees to go out over our toes and slightly more towards our little toe in terms of direction. So the direction our knees travel will be slightly more out than our toes are pointing, and more so towards the small toe. Small toe? Yeah, the small toe. Okay, so let's take a look at the way my body folds down into the squat. How much forward am I going, and how much are my knees going out? That is gonna be like the basic, like based on my genetics. Basically, we're gonna get a little bit technical. The longer this part of my leg here is, the upper leg, in comparison to the length of my upper body, the longer this leg, the upper part of the leg is compared to my upper body, the more I'm gonna fold forward. But if I have pretty short upper legs and I have a longer upper body, and even more so if this part down here of my leg is really short, no, really long, I mean, really long. So if this part of the leg is long, this part is short, and my upper body is long, I'm gonna basically be falling down like this, like super upright, okay? Now I'm not built like that. I have a slightly longer upper leg. So now watch how I'm gonna fall down. And I will show you the difference between a high bar and a low bar. Okay, this is a high bar. If you watch me now, this is how I fall down. I'm pretty bent forward, right? If I roll the bar lower on my back, now I have a low bar. Watch how I fall down now. Even more bent over, right? So the more upright you want your squat to be, if you want to have an upright squat, you want to do the high bar, and you're gonna have a more upright squat like this. There are a couple of more things we can do to adjust the squat if we want it to be more of an upright squat or forward bent squat. Typically, if we want to build your legs, you want to build your quads, we want an upright squat. So we want to be, I'm actually gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna go up on my toes as I fall down just to show you. Now my heels will not be on the ground for this one. Look at this, how upright I am. Now my heels are off the ground, and obviously we cannot squat like this, like a lot of weight. But this would be a bodybuilding squat, where I'm very upright, my knees are pointing very much forward, and my ass is not that far back. That means that I will have a lot of the tension on my quads and not on my ass and my posterior chain. So if we look at the biomechanics, the more we want to focus the squat on our quads, our front side of the legs, the further we want our knees to point forward as we go down, and the less we want our ass to point back. Now there are obviously limits to this, because if you allow your knees to point way too much forward and maybe you're lifting a little bit too heavy weights, you're going to put your knees in danger, because your knees is in a very vulnerable position. So there is always a trade-off where you need to balance. Okay, should I focus on just isolating the front of the legs, or should I have a more balanced squat? And if you want to move heavy weights, we're typically stronger in our lower back, ass and hamstrings, our posterior chain. So if you want to load a heavy weight, you should put the bar lower on your back and just bend forward a bit more, and you're going to hold the weight in the posterior chain. That is more so going to grow your spinal erectors and your ass, maybe hamstrings also, more so than the quads, which means that if you want to build strength or if you want to build quads, those two are very different things. Now as a beginner, I don't think you should focus that much on that. You should just go in, find whatever squat that you can fall down to without it feeling super awkward. It's gonna feel awkward in the beginning. It feels awkward for me just because I haven't done it in a long time now. But just find a squat that feels good as a beginner. But if you reach the point, let's say that you're an intermediate, maybe you're 2 years in the gym or 3 years in the gym, and you're realizing like, okay, maybe I want to focus on building my legs, or maybe I want to focus on getting stronger, you can choose to have the bar higher or lower on your back. Now there are one more thing that we can do that is going to determine how upright or how forward falling we are. And we can actually elevate our heels by putting something underneath our heels and not our toes, so just under the heels. That is going to allow us to fall into the squat more upright. So basically, from a biomechanical view perspective, we are making our lower part of the leg, like the leg where the calf is attached. I feel like my English vocabulary is limiting me, but we're basically, from a biomechanical perspective, is going to lengthen the lower part of our leg, which is going to make us fall down into the squat more upright by elevating our heels. So you can do that just a little, or you can do it a lot. If you do it a lot, you're not going to be as stable, but you will isolate your quads more, and you will have an even more upright squat. Now let's take a look at the feet. This is a shoulder width stance, and this is basically what we're gonna have as our baseline. If you want to move more weight, you're typically gonna want to move out your feet a little bit like this, and as you fall down, you're gonna have a little bit more tension on the back of your legs and your ass and your posterior chain. If you want to do a bodybuilding squat, you can move your feet a little bit closer, and your knees will go a little bit more forward and your ass probably not as much back. This is not a law, but this is like typical, okay? So if we have a stance like this wide, you look at my feet where they are pointing. We want the knees to go out over our small toe, like this, okay? We have it closer. We can have our knees going a little bit. Now we can just point out our toes and do like a frog squat, or we can call it whatever we like, right? Probably there's a name for it that I don't know. But we can adjust our stance a lot. If we want to have a more bodybuilder squat, we're gonna stand a little bit closer, probably around shoulder width or a little bit closer. Gonna allow our toes to point a little bit and our knees to go out over like this as we fall down. And then if we want to elevate our heels, we put something under our heels. Now I'm just gonna go up on my toes now, so I'm not gonna put anything, but just to show, okay? So look at this. Now I'm up on my toes, but like look at how upright I am. I'm sitting basically pretty much upright like this. That's because my heels are so high. And if I have the bar high up on my back like this, I'm gonna be really upright. And right now I have a lot of tension in my quads and pretty much no tension, or just a very, very little tension in my lower back and my glutes. Since it has been a while for me since I squatted, I'm gonna take my time and warm up really properly. So I'm gonna start out with, I just did a set with just a bar, 10 reps. Now I'm gonna put on 10 on each side, and that will actually be like how like the increases I will make. I will just increase with 10 kilos at a time. That is a very slow increase. So most people will go with the 20 at a time, but I feel like I need to warm up, and it is just not worth it for me to do it faster than well, I'm gonna take my time basically, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna make sure everything feels good. And the fun thing you will notice is that Now, especially if you have a slightly more forward lean in your squat, you're gonna notice that the more weight you put on, the easier it is gonna be to fall down into the squat. So it's gonna be easier for me as the weight increases to fall down into the squat. Let's see how it looks with 10 kilos. So I'm a high bar squatter. That is not what I did, by the way, when I was moving, like trying to move heavier weights. So when I squatted 200 kilos, I had a low bar. But right now, I'm more so gonna focus on having a good technique and slightly more of a quad focused squat. Actually feels pretty good. Let's bump it up one more step. 20 kilos on each side. This will be 60 kilos. Let's see how this feels. High bar. Oh, I don't want to break my necklace. Let's see, like this. This is a very slim necklace, so it probably breaks easier than the thicker chain. God damn it, come on. Let's see how this feels. Let's hope I can fall down real nice. You will see that I have something called a butt wink as well. That's when your ass basically dips down. Now that is not necessarily a problem until you notice it is a problem. If you notice it is a problem. For me, the butt wink has never been a problem. I never got injured because of it. So I wouldn't say that you should make it a problem unless you're noticing that you're getting lower back pain. And yeah, one more thing. If you want to move really heavy weights, you take a pretty deep breath, not overly deep, but a deep breath. You hold it in and you just tighten up your core as hard as possible as you go down. For me, I'm slightly more towards the bodybuilder, which means that I will not tighten up my core overly too much, and I will breathe in on the way down and breathe out slowly on the way up. Probably hold my breath at the lowest part of the squat. And keep some tension in the core that is necessary to be stable and safe, but I'm not gonna core my weight up. Basically, you can lift the weight with just pure core pressure. I'm not gonna do that. That's not the bodybuilder way typically. Yeah, let's bump it up. All right, 80 kilos, and now I'm gonna decrease the amount of reps that I do because I want to save myself a little bit for the heavy load. The important thing is that everything feels good and that I am warm before I move the heavier weight. I'm not gonna go super heavy. It's been a while. I'm not gonna try to go for a PR today, but this feels pretty heavy actually, and this is only 80 kilos. Let's see how it falls down. One more. Let's bump it up. I am getting a little bit nervous now, I will admit. It's a weird feeling, like going in to do something that you once were pretty good at, and now you're not gonna perform even close to as good as you did previously. But right now, I will say that the main thing is do not get injured for me right now. But I want to see how much I can do. So depending on my performance today, next week, I'm gonna increase the weight. So I'm gonna slowly start building the squat again. And when you haven't done anything in a long time that you did previously at a higher level, I feel you need to be very careful going back and just not think that you're gonna all of a sudden super fast perform at the same high level that you did previously. And also maybe I'm a little bit more strict with the form now than I was back then, just because I feel like, hey, I'm 30 years old. I'm by no means old. I'm actually very young, 30 years old, but I'm not stupid like I was when I was younger. Okay, let's see how this feels. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 reps, and based on how that feels, if it feels really heavy, this is gonna be the main set. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna increase the weight. It actually felt heavy, but I still want to increase the weight. All right, boys, this is it. 110 kilos, So technically not super heavy weights, but this is gonna feel heavy as fuck. Okay, I'm nervous. I'm gonna aim for 10 reps. And I'm not gonna hit failure, so if I feel like at rep number 6 or 7 that it feels too heavy, I'm not gonna push it. But I think I will have 10 reps. I should have 10 reps. I mean, considering I squatted actually 160 kilos for 10 way back when, and at that time I was like on TRT. Like now I'm on more stuff than that right now. So this should not be heavy, but also now I'm lifting in a, let's call it more calm and mature way, and I'm not over flexing my core. I could lift heavier weights if I just pushed harder from my core, but that is not typically the bodybuilder way. The bodybuilder way, you want to stabilize but not push through your core more than necessary. So let's see how this feels. I'm fucking nervous. 10 reps and I will sleep good tonight. Hopefully. I slept like shit for 2 nights now because I'm so excited about a couple of things. So couldn't sleep. Okay. Rep, rep. Rep, rep. Come on. Rep. Rep, rep, rep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, my lower back is not used to this. 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. Okay, this was scary because it became very clear and obvious to me that my lower back is not used to this. It's been a long time since I deadlifted or squatted or even bent over barbell row, which means that it's been a long time since I put a heavy load on my lower back. So my lower back is definitely the limiting factor for me right now. Shit, I'm gonna feel this sitting down on the toilet tomorrow. It's gonna be hard. And typically, even though I am actually doing high bar and trying to have a slightly more upright squat, I am gonna feel this in my glutes, my adductors, the inside of the leg, and the inner hamstring is where I'm gonna feel this the most. I'm happy with the performance. It was good. It was okay. It was okay. I train arms and legs in the same workout, so time for arms. Gonna have some water first, but then time for arms. Somebody wanted me to show the proper way to do a tricep extension, and I am of the opinion that 99% of all trainers out there teach this one wrong. So, what the trainers out there will say is that you should keep your upper arm completely still and just push down like this. Now the problem with that is when you do that, you initiate the tension through your elbows, as this is the first joint moving. What we want to do instead is to grab the weight and hold it in our lats. So right now I'm holding the weight in the lats. And before I fire off from my triceps and change this angle to activate my triceps, I want to pull the weight through my lats like this, and then I will go from a lat movement into a tricep movement like this. Okay, so this is a smooth movement, okay? And I'm not swinging the weight, I'm just transitioning. And this is a much better way to do the exercise because the long head of the tricep inserts on the shoulder blade, the other side of the shoulder joint, which means that when we hold the weight in our lats, we are also holding the weight in the long head of our triceps. So right now, I'm having tension in the long head of my triceps, even though this angle is not moving. And as I go from here and out here, I will feel the tension climb from up here in my tricep, and I will feel the tension climb down my triceps like this. So I will hold more tension in the upper part of my triceps, and it's gonna feel like the tension is climbing down. If I start like this, and I just pull like this, I'm gonna start feeling the tension in my elbow, and then I'm gonna feel the tension climb up my triceps. So it's gonna feel completely different, actually quite opposite. Instead of feeling the tension climbing from your elbow and up your triceps, it's gonna feel like the tension is climbing up from the long head of the triceps and then down. And when you do this, you will build more of the long head of the triceps, and on top of that, your elbow joint is gonna thank you. You can get a really good squeeze like this as well. The level of understanding when it comes to biomechanics within the fitness industry is very, very low, unfortunately, and there are many exercises that are being taught wrong because some people think they understand biomechanics when the level of understanding is actually way lower than it should be in order to teach it. And unfortunately, there are many things that are being taught wrong within the fitness industry because coaches are trying to simplify it down to their low level of understanding of biomechanics. Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of sets like that, probably 3 sets. I'll see, usually I will see based on how I feel the pump going. So if my triceps don't respond to whatever I'm doing, I will either increase the weight or decrease the weight. So if I increase the weight, it will be fewer reps, but there will be more mechanical tension. Sometimes that will help, and I will get the pump that way, where I will feel the tension doing its job. But sometimes it's the other way around. And sometimes in decreasing the weight and doing more reps and just squeezing harder is what's necessary for the pump. It's so weird, it's very much day to day. But I can feel the triceps already, actually. I can feel them swelling up. I can feel the triceps swelling up here in the long head, mostly. And I'm gonna feel the whole tricep soon. Swelling up, getting swoller by the day. So one person is taking D-ball, the other person is taking tren. Who will grow the most? The one who eats the food, goddammit. So simple. Everyone wants the shortcut. Now, I'm not saying that the super supplements don't work. I mean, I fucking love them. But if you don't eat the food, man, you're not even in the fucking game. Shit, this is a good squeeze. Okay. Okay. Holy shit, this feels good. And yeah, with the technique that I just taught you, the better you become with connecting with a muscle, I can hold the weight and just do like this little movement right there. And that will initiate the tension up here because I know how to connect to the tricep that way. So in the beginning, doing it over exaggerated like this is really good to find a pathway. But once you're connected, I can do like this. You see how small the movement is? It is a little bit of a movement, but it's not much. And that's all I need to start and initiate the tension in the long head of my triceps. I have no idea if I took the previous set to failure or not. I'm just gonna hammer in some work into the muscle. Like from a technical perspective, like biomechanics and physics and science, bodybuilders are like 10 fucking years behind. Like the shit trainers are saying in the gym, there's so many things that I know to be wrong that I hear different coaches say, but I can't say shit because they got more followers than me. Like the tricep extension, for example, people are teaching that exercise completely fucking wrong, and people are hurting their elbows completely unnecessarily because the trainers are so far behind when it comes to science and biomechanics. Also, like the term volume doesn't fucking mean anything. The term we should use is work, and work is defined as force times distance. So let's be technical just to be a bit nerdy for a second. Force, that is basically the mechanical tension in the muscle, okay? So how much mechanical tension we have in the muscle, how hard it's pulling, multiplied by the distance that the weight has been traveled. So the total distance that we move multiplied by the mechanical tension, that is called work according to physics, right? And that is fucking law. So according to physics, volume doesn't mean shit, because volume is just how much space something does. I can do this, right? This is volume. This volume doesn't mean fucking shit, right? The term we should use is work. And that is force times distance. Simplify it as, you know, fitness people. We could simplify that as the amount of reps we do multiplied by the amount of weight we lift. So heavier weight will mean more mechanical tension, and more reps will mean more distance. So we can say just how many reps we did multiply by the amount of weight we lifted. That is work. And that is actually what we should be using as a term, and not volume, because volume doesn't mean anything. Oh, this feels so good. Det spelar ingen roll hur det känns i musklerna. Det är bara en känsla. Om dina muskler är ledsna eller glada en dag, det spelar ingen roll för att bygga muskler. Vad du känner spelar ingen roll. Mannen, håll käften. Om jag känner någonting i muskeln så är det inte att muskeln är fucking ledsen. Det jag känner i muskeln kallas för mekanisk spänning. Bara, det spelar ingen roll vad du känner. Brorsan, vi snackar inte om att min muskel är glad eller ledsen. Vi snackar om mekanisk spänning. Min mind-muscle connection känner inte sorg eller lycka. Min muskel känner mekanisk spänning, brorsan. Vad snackar de om? Vad fucking snackar de om? Att inte ha mind-muscle connection för en musiker är som att inte ha gehör för en gymbror. Slightly dyslexic. I'm sorry for all of my English speaking foes. Okay, that's it for triceps. Let's do some biceps. This exercise is called the big boy curl. We're gonna pull our shoulder blades forward like this, hang over the weight a little bit, allow our arms to rest on our rib cage and our lats, and just squeeze it right in front of us like this. And the grip will be a slight bent grip, easy bar curl. So basically we're gonna squeeze into the bicep, and as we squeeze into the bicep, we're gonna try to twist our pinkies up. We're gonna twist through the movement. Now obviously the bar does not bend, but mentally we can shift the force and we can shift the focus and just squeeze it in like we're scooping into the movement. Let me show you. Bent over, shoulder blades forward. Squeezing our elbows together through the movement. That's it for this workout. I hope you appreciated the video. If you did so, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.